Hi, welcome back to our channel. My name is Barry. This is my brother, Mark. Two brothers' opinions.
That's right. And we are going to have an opinion on this one, and hopefully we get more
Pretty
opinions.
much every episode we have our opinion.
Yeah. So I'd like to explore the idea of ghosts and guardian angels. Not ghosts like, scary movie ghosts,
Yeah.
but things that people have seen or stuff that happens, and you just know that there's some other power or something working. So I'll give you a couple of examples. So there was, by now the people that watch this know we're in Connecticut. So years ago, we're going to Midnight Madness, the very first night of UConn basketball. It's their opening practice.
Right. And I've been there one time.
Yep. So I'm there, our sister's there, our niece is there, her one of her kids is there. And we park and we come down some stairs and we have to cross this little road to go to the arena.
Okay.
So I was in a hurry to get there because I'm all excited. So I was ahead of them, maybe 10 feet. So I look both ways, no cars. I walk out in the middle of the road and all of a sudden I feel a hand in my back shove me forward.
Okay.
And just as that happens, a car went by. They didn't have their lights on.
Oh, wow.
I felt the wind. Like that car missed me by an inch.
Okay.
They went up and there was a cop at the end, and the cop was screaming and stopped the car and like yelled at the girl. He's like, "You almost hit that guy." So I'm not all the way across the road, and now the rest of the family gets over it. I'm like, "Which one of you shoved me?" They're like, "No one. You were in the road all by yourself." They said, "But it looked like someone shoved you."
Wow. I never heard that
Oh
story.
yeah, no, you could ask Shannon about it.
I never heard that story.
Because I lurched forward,
Yeah,
you're not expecting it, and all of a
yeah.
sudden somebody gave you a
Your
really
shoulders
big
come forward.
Yeah, you went flying. Yeah, and that car just missed me. Just missed me.
It wasn't your time.
That's what I'm talking about. It's like,
Yeah.
what is that?
I have another one.
Well, give me one more.
Oh,
And then you remember my 1991 Mazda MX-6?
Oh, yeah. Not turbo. Wasn't it turbo?
No, that one wasn't.
Oh, but nice car.
That
though.
crashed.
Yeah.
You saw the car.
Oh, I
right?
saw the car. I didn't know that the person that... If I looked at that car not knowing you were in it, I'd say that person died in that car.
Well, so did everybody who came over to the car. So I'm, quick story is I'm going like 55 miles an hour down. So it's a wide road. South Main Street is pretty wide. And this car is coming down and they're weaving in and out. And all of a sudden that car loses control. And now I am looking head on at this person. So I did something that I probably would have been taught in like defensive driving school, but I was never taught this. I had a 5-speed. So I went from fifth gear. I downshifted to second gear and stepped on the gas and I spun the wheel, which put me into a slide. And he nailed me on the side, just after my door.
Just that, yeah.
Right.
Was it in the back seat?
Yeah. So my car spun around 2.5 times. My bumper ended up in a tree. There was no glass left in my car. And they hit the curb after they got launched up in the air. They hit a tree like 15 feet up in the air. Then they bounced back out into the road, and then they laid down like more like 100 feet, 200 feet of rubber before that car finally stopped.
So they were flying.
Oh, they were flying. So when the cops finally got there, well, first of all, I'm sitting there. The car finally stopped spinning, and I just undid my seatbelt and opened the door. And all I know is I could picture a bunch of people running, and there was no cars going by, so every car stopped that was driving by, which is usually odd.
Yeah. For Waterbury especially.
And I remember
Did they try
hearing-
to rob you?
No. But I remember hearing a guy's voice go, "You're not dead?" And I was like, "No, but that guy who hit me is about to be dead." And I opened the door and I started walking down the street. I didn't have a scratch. No, I didn't have whiplash. I didn't have a scratch. The only thing left in my car was my seat.
I remember seeing the car. I was like, you were in there?
Yeah.
I remember seeing it. Yeah.
So when the cops finally came, they figured out that he was doing 100 miles an hour when he hit me.
Holy cow.
Now I was doing 55. That was a loud noise.
Yeah, everybody heard it.
Yeah.
Well, there's not many houses in the area where you.
Well, no, but the other thing is like
Where you were
to
headed
see a
south.
car get spinning around, a bumper flying,
Yeah.
glass flying. Yeah, everyone thought I was dead. I mean, so I'm looking, I'm like, 2 instances where somebody shoved me, and maybe somebody like cocooned me in that car, but I don't know why I downshifted and stepped on the gas. Like, that's not anything I would normally do.
No.
Normally, you'd step on the brake and just hold on.
Hold on.
I didn't. And I
If
somehow,
you did, you probably would have been.
I would have been dead because we were going head on. I was looking at the person.
Oh wow.
It was that close.
Did they were drunk?
No. Comes to find out, they had just left the scene of another accident and were fleeing
Oh.
away from hitting someone else.
Well, they have no insurance.
No insurance, and before the cop was like, cop went down there and look, he goes, they took everything out of the glove compartment, all the paperwork. So before they left the car, it was one person. They took
Oh, the car never caught the person.
Oh no, nope, never caught the person because they took all the information and
Oh,
they
wow.
ran up in the woods and they ran up the hill and they went up in the woods and never caught the person. And the people that owned the car reported it stolen.
Of course. Of course.
Later on that day, they reported the car stolen.
Of course.
It wasn't
It
stolen.
was them.
It was them.
Of course.
Can't prove it.
So, did you see what happened in Bridgeport in the news?
Recently?
Yeah, about unregistered vehicles.
No.
What they say? There's 5,000 unregistered vehicles in Bridgeport riding around.
Jesus.
5,000. That's a lot of vehicles.
Yeah. It's a lot
So
of illegals.
here's my two quick stories
All right.
about that. So I was young, probably I don't know how old I was when I got my first bike. Maybe 19, 18, 19. I bought a pre-owned bike, a used bike off this guy. I think I bought it for like $300-400, and that's what I learned on. Then later on, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy a new bike. So I bought a brand new bike. And of course, anybody that knows that rides, the first thing you really want to do is take a course.
Yep.
Because you think you know what you're doing until you take the course, how to ride a motorcycle correctly. You don't know nothing.
Right.
So at that point, I didn't know nothing. But I had myself a really nice sport bike.
Right.
So it was one of those hot, humid nights. And this is before it started getting dark. So I was riding with a friend of mine, and I said, you know what, let's stop by my garage where I live, up on Tudor Street. And I said, I took off my leather, I took off my gloves, I took off everything, I even took off my helmet. I said, it's too damn hot, sweat is pouring. I said, you know what, I better put the helmet on. Something told me put the helmet on. I went down the road, and I was speeding on Division Street, hit a pothole, ripped the handlebars out of my hand, slid 250 feet from the point of impact to where I ended up.
On your head?
And the first thing that hit, when I flipped off the bike, I smashed the side of my head onto the pavement. It took a chunk out of a Kevlar fiberglass helmet. It was probably a ½ inch deep and probably an inch long. So the emergency room doctor, when I went to the hospital, of course, it took a chunk out of my knee. I had road rash all over. I didn't break anything.
Right.
I actually passed out.
Oh.
The ER doctor said, let me look at your helmet. He said, you'd be dead today.
Yeah.
So what made me put that helmet back on?
See, I think that that's a real thing. I think that's like a premonition kind of thing where you don't just all of a sudden go, it's probably safer. No, there's a feeling that you get like, I need to do this.
Yeah.
And who knows why, but I think that's like a sign that there's like something there. Yeah.
And my other instance was I had a little Chevy Sprint. It's a two-door, I mean, most people say, what the hell's a Sprint?
I remember that.
It's a little two-door hatchback. It had a 3-cylinder motor. All right, get 50 miles to the gallon, 5-speed.
Yeah.
So I'm coming back from Bridgeport towards Waterbury, going through Ansonia, that long straightaway. Well, they were doing construction, and I fell asleep in the fast lane.
Oh, Jesus.
I fell asleep, and at that time, they had the Jersey barriers, and I forget how far down the road, and they went on an angle like this, and the lane shifted.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, I fell asleep.
Yeah.
Something woke me up right before that lane shift, and I turned the wheel. Of course, my head hit because I did just touch the Jersey barrier.
Right, yeah.
And of course, I scratched this whole side of my car. But if I didn't wake up, it would have shot me across the road
Yep.
and off to where, like Ansonia, their high school plays football.
Oh, yeah.
That's all long straightaway.
Yeah.
It would have shot me off into the woods.
Yep.
So again,
Yeah.
why did I wake up? What woke me up? Because it felt like someone woke me up.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
Yep.
that's what it felt like.
Well, it's funny because you made me think of, I know someone really, really well who was in college in Westchester, New York, and used to go into New York City for like her like apprenticeship or whatever,
Okay.
internship or whatever. Took the subway every day. One day gets off the subway and there's gunfire.
Oh, wow.
There's shots going on. So she hides behind one of the pillars, and she's hiding there. Now there's gunfire going on. She says somebody puts their hand on her shoulder and says, "Don't move. You're going to be okay." She turns around, and it was a black man, older black man. So she feels the hand. Well, the gunfire finally stops, and she turns around. There was no one there. Nobody there at all. No man, no nobody.
But she actually saw a
She
person.
saw somebody.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's strange. Yeah, you're not disappearing on a subway platform when there's gunfire.
Well,
going
no.
on.
Especially if you turn, like you just felt the hand, you turn, like that person's not, well, if it's a person, they're still there, right? There's nobody there.
Wow.
So it's like,
That makes you think.
yeah.
Like,
You know?
what, the people that don't believe in when you die, something, because I know people like that. They think once you die, that's it. You're done.
No.
No, there's a hereafter.
There's, not only is there a hereafter, but I think there's, whether it's your own family, somebody watches out for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes you get that intuition, like, I shouldn't be doing this. I don't think it's just intuition. I think that there's like stuff going on. So before we started rolling here with the camera, the day our dad died.
And I never knew this up until maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And
So
he's been gone.
it was 2008, so it's 17 years.
Yeah.
So he was not doing well.
Yo.
He was home, but in hospice. Family, you were
I
there.
was living in Las Vegas. I flew in.
You flew in. Our sister, who was a respiratory therapist, was there. Our niece, who was a nurse, was there. Plus, he had a nurse coming in.
Mm-hmm. Who I actually knew.
Yeah, it was funny. Anyway, so he wasn't doing well. But I go to bed night before, and in the middle of the night, like, I don't know, like 3 o'clock in the morning or something, I sit straight up out of bed. I was like, whoa. And I saw a picture, before I woke up, I saw a picture of my dad, our dad, when he was like 35 years old. I saw his face like I'm looking at yours. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Fell back to sleep. So now I'm 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever, I'm getting dressed, I'm getting ready to go to work, and the phone rings. And I think it was our sister who's like, you need to get here now. So I call work, I'm not coming in. I drive.
Yep.
I drive to where they were, and I get there, and everybody looks at me and they're like, he had a bad night. So like, restless and making, whiny kind of noises or whatever, like not having a good night. So I walked over and I just grabbed his hand. I said, Dad, I'm here. Everyone watched it. He immediately calmed down.
Mm-hmm.
His breathing became normal again.
Yep.
And I was like, now we're all here.
Yeah.
Right? His wife, our mom, the three of us kids, we were all in the room. I don't think it was 20 minutes later.
If that.
If it was 20 minutes. But it was funny because he would have like a long breath. We would all like, oh my God, he's gone. And then he'd breathe again.
Yeah.
And he did it like 3 times.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point going, all right, enough is enough. Like,
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I was there.
yeah. So then,
Oh, it's just his last words the day before. He said, ooh, it's hot.
oh really?
He wanted Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh.
That's what he said. I said, Dad, can I get you anything, And he goes, Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, he wanted Dunkin' Donuts. What an advertisement for
Yeah, I
Dunkin'
know, right?
Donuts.
So,
But yeah,
So
that was his last word.
yeah. So the second he passes, and everybody was crying, everybody was looking down. But I saw, from where I was standing, I saw a white, I want to say cloud kind of looking thing, but some sort of a white,
Like an orb?
not round though, but like,
Okay.
just like like if you picture what a cloud looks like, only not that dense. And I saw it leave his body and go across the room and out the corner of the room.
And never told any of us.
Right.
I
And
just found this out
yeah.
like, what, 6 months ago?
Yeah, and I saw that, and I immediately looked back, and I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, my dad's not there. Like, he left. So when I was still upset, but when that happened, I was like, he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
So I remember when the funeral home people came,
Yeah.
they all asked us, like, do you guys want to leave the room while we take him away? And I was like, no, that's fine. I said, he's not there anyways. That's just his body.
Yeah.
But
That's all you want.
But I could say that like
Because
in my
you
head
saw
because
it.
I saw him leave.
Yeah, no one else knew this.
Yeah, but it was the coolest thing. Like, I know he's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then you fast forward, so that would be 2008. So in 2010, my daughter gets born. And I think she was probably about 2. So we'll say 2012, 2013-ish.
Okay.
She's standing in my bedroom, and we had a nightstand with a picture of my dad. So we always said, that's your grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Never called him anything else. That's your grandpa.
Yep.
That's your grandpa and grandfather. That's your grandfather. So one day we're up there doing whatever, and she's standing by the nightstand, just staring at this picture. She was staring at it for like, now a 2 or 3 year old kid isn't going to stand there for 2 or 3 minutes straight and not move. She didn't move. She was just looking at the picture. So I thought it was kind of odd. I'm like, all right, come on, we're gonna leave the room now. We're gonna go back downstairs. So she starts to turn away, turns back to the picture and says, "Bye, Poppy." Now, all his other grandchildren called him
Poppy,
and we never did.
We never did. No.
So she never heard that word.
No.
And it floored me. I'm like, oh my! And I remember turning to my wife at the time, and I was like, she was talking to him.
Oh yeah, they could see.
I'm like, he knows her.
Kids could see.
Yeah, but in that moment, I was like, he knows her.
I really believe that they have the power of sight. I just watched a video yesterday. It's funny, I say this all the time in our video.
I know.
I just watched a video yesterday of this. They brought this little kid, had to be like 2, maybe a little younger, to a gravesite. Never met this person, and they were standing there talking to someone. The person even reached up to give them a kiss. They were like, and I'm like, kids have that power. I really believe that.
Absolutely.
Children have that power of sight. And some people, actually, very few people will retain it.
Right.
Because you do know somebody that has the power of sight. Don't you?
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Who are you talking about?
Your stepdaughter.
Oh, yes. Okay, that is who I thought you were talking about.
Because she saw our nephew, the one that passed at 21 years old.
Yeah.
She saw him standing between us and making fun of us because we were both bald and he had hair still.
Yeah. Well, that was also the time that me and my wife and then
I wasn't there.
our sister and her husband, we went to a psychic. It was a room full of like 300 people. Mm-hmm. And we just went because, now it is a well-known psychic, someone who actually was tested at the University of Arizona, and out of a group of psychics, and only 2 people passed, we'll say.
Okay.
One was John Edward, and the other
I've
one
heard the name.
was Suzanne Northrop. So we saw
I heard both those names.
saw Suzanne Northrop. So we're in this crowd and we're just watching, and she's doing her thing. So right before, as she started to go, another family came in, and there was no more seats. So they grabbed like 5 chairs, and they just put like 5 chairs at the end of the row, but like this way. So the family wasn't all sitting together; they were one behind the other. So at the end of our row was a woman who had to be in her 80s. So Suzanne Northrop comes over to our area, and she's like, "I'm seeing a guy, like he's like 6 foot tall. He was a Marine."
Jesus.
Right? So,
Geez, I wonder who was
and
married in our
and he
family.
says, and she says, and they were married like 55 years or something. So the old woman at the end raises her hand. She goes, "That was my husband." Now at the time she's saying that was my husband, we're all sitting there going, "Holy crap, that's our dad!"
Yeah.
Because all that matches. 6 foot tall, Marine, married 54 years.
Yeah, 54. Okay.
So, anyways, this woman goes, "Oh, that's my husband." So
The lady said, "You're alive."
Suzanne Northrup was talking to her and says, "Well, you have his flag, right?" And she goes, "No, we never had a flag." So
Shannon actually-
now we're
Shannon has the flag now.
yeah. So we're like sitting there kind of with our hands raised a little bit, and Suzanne Northrup looks at us and goes, "Does this make sense for you guys?" And we're like, "Oh yeah." Right? Now, I know that you don't give them too much information.
Nope.
So we're like, "Oh yeah." They're like, "Well, what makes sense so far?" I said, "Well, 6 foot tall, Marine, married 54 years." She goes, "Well, you have his flag." Now, the day before we went, the case, which is like a triangular case with glass, I ordered that. It came in the mail the day before
That you went to
that
see.
we went to see the psychic, and I put his flag in that night. So the next morning we were at the thing. She goes, "You have his flag." She goes, "I can see it. It's in a triangular case." And I was like, "Okay." I'm not even saying yes or no. I'm just going, "Okay." And then she goes, "You have his hat." And I'm like, "No, he didn't have a Marine. He didn't have his uniform. So I don't have his hat." She goes, "No, you have his hat." I was like, we don't have his hat. So she says, well, just remember that I said you have his hat, and we'll leave it at that. Okay, whatever. So then they move on. So I go home. I'm probably home an hour, and our sister calls and goes, "Hey, dummy, you have his hat." I'm like, "What hat are you talking about?" She goes, "His baseball hat, the one that says U.S. Marines on it." I'm like, "Holy crap, I do have his hat." Matter of fact, I know. I saw it.
Oh, wow.
I saw it yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So
I have one too.
yeah, well, we each got one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had his hat.
Yeah. And that I don't know where that one came from, but the one I have, his brother-in-law gave him, Uncle Tony.
Oh, okay.
La Salada.
Yeah. Well, here's the rest of this because that wasn't the end of it. So then she says, all of a sudden she's talking to us, and she says, "Oh my God, I feel like I'm drowning." And she goes, "Did somebody drown?" Well, our sister's son
Yeah, my nephew
drowned,
at 21 years old.
and my sister starts crying, and she's like, "Yeah." She goes, "He was younger, wasn't he? He was like a young man," and she's like, "Yeah."
Mm-hmm.
So she says, "He just wants you to know that." Now, at this point, our sister is married to our brother-in-law. Says, "Just wants you to know that the brother-in-law is a good guy." So Scott says that
Yeah.
Lance is a good guy.
Yeah.
And then she says about him like teasing, like, yeah, because he was like, "Oh yeah," and she looks at me, she goes, "Yeah, and he's teasing you, he has better hair than you." And she goes, "Because I can see him like with the pick, like fixing his hair."
They always did that.
Yeah. And I mean, we kind of all turned around. She goes, "Because he's right behind you." Well, we all turned around, right? So that was the end of it. But when we were leaving, some lady came over and had written down everything that was said and gave it to Dawn, our sister.
I never knew that.
She has it. She's got to have it somewhere. But that's where I was like, oh, that's right. And again, right, and then she starts to walk away. Like she was going to switch to some other people. And then she comes back and she says, and I'll preface this with, on the way there, we were talking about, gee, I wonder if anybody's going to come through. And my wife says, "Well, I know who's not coming through." She goes, "My stepdad." She goes, "He ain't coming through." So right before Suzanne Northrup is done, she starts walking away. She comes back to you. She goes, "One more thing. What's Flag Day to you?" My wife's stepfather's birthday's Flag Day.
Oh, wow! See that?
So we all got something that day.
And sometimes most of the audience doesn't. Just
Right? Yeah.
Sometimes
Most
it's
people
just
don't.
a few.
But as John Edward would say, and I've read a couple of his books, John Edward would say, the people that get something is because they need it. If you don't, in a sense, like if you don't really need it,
Yeah.
then you probably won't get something. But at that time, our nephew, the way he died, he was in Arizona by himself. Utah by himself, and he was rafting down the Grand Canyon on an inner tube.
No,
And-
not the Grand Colorado River.
Well, that's
Well, it's not the.
Well, it's part of
Yeah,
the. That's the river that goes
flows
through the Grand
into
Canyon.
it. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
But he had met some people who were banked on the side and had tents, and they invited him for dinner that night, and he hung out with them, had dinner, and then the next morning he was like, "Well, I'm going to go down the river,"
And they told him.
and they told him don't because the rapids are pretty bad down there, but he did anyways, and then
he drowned.
he drowned, but then they didn't find him for days.
About a month.
He got caught on rocks or something under the water.
So if rapids river, the top, if it's going 20 miles an hour,
Underneath,
it's going double
Yeah,
that underneath.
right.
So it's going 40 miles an
Yeah,
hour underneath.
yeah.
So you could be, Johnny Weissmuller, great Olympic swimmer, and you're not gonna
right?
survive.
Yeah. So that day we all got something.
Yeah.
I also went to a John Edwards show one time.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. So
Of course, ladies and gentlemen, I was always somewhere. I was either in Arizona, Panama, living in Arizona,
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. I lived all over the place.
But we went to a John Edwards show, and my wife's brother had died a while prior to that, and we were sitting way in the back, and all of a sudden John Edwards like, "I'm back here somewhere," and he ends up giving the initials of her brother, the way he died, and a couple of other facts I don't remember now. And I said to her, "Stand up, like this is for you."
Yeah.
And someone like 20 rows ahead goes, "That's for me," and I think it switched,
Yeah.
and that was the end of it. But I swear that was him.
Yeah.
So things like that, guardian angels, all that stuff is real. Now, when we talk about ghosts, like there's videos of like Gettysburg, people driving through at night and they're seeing soldiers running and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that stuff's real.
Yeah. They're trapped on this earth.
Yeah.
That's what they say ghosts are, people that just never crossed over. They're trapped here for a reason.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of soldiers, that happens to. Their life isn't, life's not finished yet.
It's not finished, and right.
They're still looking for something.
Yep. Yeah.
But then you hear stories like our father told us a story where a bunch of guys volunteered to go into the Marines that he knew from the area that he grew up. They said, "Well, we're not going to wait to get drafted." As a matter of fact, my father did get drafted into the Army, but he already joined the Marines. So there was one guy went through multiple invasions that he knew. Never got a scratch. This other guy, his first invasion, the landing craft got hit by Japanese artillery or mortar, sunk, died.
Yep.
So how does that happen? You go through multiple invasions, don't get a scratch, and this other guy, his first one come in and he dies.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason. But so that's where I think faith comes in, where people
Sure.
have to have some faith. Say, you know what? For some reason, I guess that was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Now, other people would say, well, why do bad stuff happen to like little kids? And why does God or something, why do they let that happen? And I don't think there's an answer for that.
No.
I don't think there is.
But the thing is, they're so innocent, I think they'll go straight to heaven.
Yeah.
They sit amongst Jesus.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
they're innocent.
Yeah. There's a really good Martina McBride video singing a song, Concrete Angel, which is about that. Look, and it was literally her niece,
Oh, wow.
where she was abused, got killed by the parent. And in the video, they show at the end, she's with other little kids.
Sure.
And
I believe that.
And they're like spirits or whatever.
I believe that.
It's a really good video. So anyways, yeah, I just thought.
No, this is great.
And I would love to hear other people's stories and experiences, because this stuff happens all the time. And why do you, it's one of those, why do you meet people at certain times in your life? A quick story, and this has nothing to do with like ghosts or anything, but I think it has to do with like being in the right place at the right time.
Sure.
So I'm getting ready to go to the grad school years ago. And I go up to the University of Connecticut where I got my master's degree. And I went up early in the summer before I started school. And I found one of my professors. I said, "Hey, is there any books I can read to like get a head start?" So he gave me a couple of books. He goes, "So what are you doing this summer?" I'm like, "I'm looking for a job." He goes, "Oh, there's a guy downstairs. He's looking for someone." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." He says, He's right down. He gives me his name. He gives his number. He goes, I want you to look for this guy though. He goes, not the guy that's hiring, but I want you to find this guy because he'll help you. I'm like, well, who is he? Now this is in the summertime.
Okay.
He says, he's the guy walking down the hall right now. I'm like, okay. So I run out to this guy who's walking down the hall.
Excuse me.
I'm like, yeah, excuse me. I'm like, this professor just told me I'm supposed to see you about a job. He goes, yeah. He goes, hold on. He writes the lady's name down. He goes, call this lady and tell her that you're interested. I call the lady. She answers the phone. The next day, I get an interview. I got hired. There were 4 people on campus, professors, that weren't supposed to be there. All when I was there.
Yeah. Coincidence?
I don't know. Like, how could that be 4 people coincidences? You know, it's like,
one
now
maybe, 2.
now if this guy
4?
doesn't. Now if this guy doesn't. Well, first of all, if I don't go up there and ask for something to read, but if he doesn't then say, oh, by the way, what are you doing this summer?
Yeah.
And it's just a conversation. I'm looking for a job. I could have said, nothing. Who knows? I could have said, I'm looking for a job. Yeah. Well, yeah, talk to this guy. Who's the guy? Well, he's that guy right there.
Yeah. So now I'm from Waterbury. We're from Waterbury. Yeah. And, I've been married a couple times, so I had, times got really tough in Connecticut. And, I got laid off because I was the low guy on the totem pole. And I couldn't find a job doing nothing. And I had bills to pay.
Yeah.
So a good friend of mine says, hey, Barry, he lived in Phoenix. He said, just put your resume online and you're welcome to come live with me. And then when you get on your feet, move out and get your own place.
Yeah.
It's okay, no problem. I put my resume online. It must have been 2 days. Bling, get a phone call, right? I see the Phoenix number,
right.
602. Hi, is this Barry? I said, yeah, it is. And are you seriously looking about coming to Arizona? Because I might have a job for you as a headhunter. And I said, yeah, my unemployment's running out. I only got a couple checks left. And then I'm homeless.
Right.
And I'm not that my family would have let
me
go.
I know.
Homeless.
I know what you mean, though.
Technically, I could have been homeless.
Right.
If people said, I have nowhere for you.
Right.
So anyhow, I pack up my stuff and I moved to Arizona on a promise of a interview.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
So I get to Arizona. She said, when you get there, call me. So I got there. That was probably on a Friday night, Saturday morning. Monday morning, I called the lady. She said, oh, come on up Tuesday and blah, blah, blah. I go up there and meet her. She goes, oh my God, I love your personality, Barry. I got a perfect job for you. I'm going to call these people. They'll call you for an interview time. So I go see the people. I met with them. Matter of fact, one of them still works there. And she says, I think you would be a perfect fit, but I have to talk to my manager and blah, blah, blah. We'll call you in a couple days. Now, I only was living 15 minutes from the job.
Right.
I didn't even make it home. They called me, could you start Monday? I said, yeah, I'll be there. And I worked there a little over 9 years.
Yeah.
Things work out.
Well, that's one of the things that's in. There's 2 things I think are important. One is talk to people because you never know.
Talk to everyone.
You never know who you know.
Yeah, I
right?
talk to everyone.
And the other thing is, and I've told a lot of people this, even when I was a therapist, but I tell my own daughter this: never pass up an opportunity. If an opportunity presents itself, go see what it's about. Because sometimes, I could do this, but they're saying that there might be a job, but I'm not going to go. No, go and talk to someone.
Yeah,
you may not want it, but all of a sudden you might go, holy crap! Look what just. But so never pass up opportunities, and talk to people.
No.
And that's the problem with like internet and phone and all this other texting and all. Nobody talks to anyone anymore.
No.
We did a thing on that once.
Yeah.
People sitting across from each other.
Good or bad.
Yeah.
I can't stand that these employers, they'll hire you off of a piece of paper. They don't even know how you present yourself. I mean, are you going to come in looking like, I know that they really can't discriminate the way you look.
No, but I know for a fact that if you come in not looking right, they throw your application.
So anyhow, the thing I was saying before is like I was out in Arizona over a little over 9 years, and I was pretty much alone, as far as a companion in my life, And here I moved to Bristol, and I start working in Waterbury, and I find someone where I'm working,
right,
and we've been together 2.5 years.
Yeah.
You know, it's February next year, it'll be 3 years.
I know.
And there they are, right in Waterbury.
Yep.
And here I am in Arizona.
Yeah.
I come back and I meet someone. And this person, we're great together.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just really amazing how
Timing, coincidence.
Yep. Yeah. So I would love to hear stories of other people with timing or their experiences, or, you know, because I think it's just fascinating.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, that about wraps this one up. Thank you very much, folks. Please hit the notification bell, like, subscribe. Please put some comments. Our last couple videos, not one comment. I don't know if people are seeing it or what's going on.
I don't know.
We're boring you. Tell us other subjects.
I'm hoping that part of it is it's summertime and they're out, you know,
barbecuing,
and swimming and stuff. But
on vacation.
But I know also, I mean, this will be like maybe episode like 25 or whatever. So it's not like we have, you know, hundreds of episodes.
Not yet.
It'll catch on.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah. We also remind everybody that we'll be switching studios sometime in August. August. So we're trying to do a couple ahead. So sometimes when we're talking about something, and by the time it gets posted, it's something that maybe happened a couple weeks ago, but we're trying to get some in the queue.
Sure.
And so that we have something to download it every week. And so, yeah, do all the stuff you're supposed to do to make sure you watch us.
Yep.
Remember, you have a voice, and don't forget, don't let anyone silence it, because having a voice is very important.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to do a Dumb Democrat of the Week of this week or next week or last week. Our preemptive strike next week.
Yeah.
This person will be an idiot.
I don't even know. I'm getting too disappointed. I might start doing dumb Republican.
Well, we could do that too, because I got one that might be hanging out there. It could be
because
could be Pam Bondi.
Yeah, I'm really ticked off about her.
She's doing some weird stuff, and
I'm very disappointed,
and saying stuff like, "Oh, we're gonna get them," and then nothing ever happens.
Nothing.
You can't say especially as the Attorney General. If you're like, "We're gonna get them," you better have evidence.
Maybe we'll do an episode on Pam Bondi and the Republican, the MAGA, what's going on in MAGA right now.
Yeah, we could, because she's looking haggard. Those jobs.
Yeah.
And I think I told you too. One last thing, everybody. If you're interested, try and look up a connection between Epstein and Bill Barr, former Attorney General, and Bill Barr's father.
And what did we just say the last episode?
CIA
again.
And Mossad.
And Mossad, which is like CIA
the Israeli, yeah.
Intelligence.
There's a lot of connections.
Yep. Alrighty,
All
folks.
right.
Thank you very much. Have a very good day.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.